Good morning. Vodafone Idea has gone to the TDSAT over TRAI blocking some of its plans to offer faster internet speeds to premium customers. This is something we talked about yesterday as well, and our lead editorial talks about just this, and essentially what it points out is that this is not the first time that the TRAI has made such moves which the industry has resisted, because the moves have been essentially unfair moves there. So in fact, one of the big problems that we've seen with TRAI over the last many years is that it has been consciously driving up the prices of spectrum in the country and driving them up so high that even telecom companies are not able to buy the spectrum. So to give you one way that TRAI would do this normally would be that it would take the bid received in the last auction. So a bid would mean that, let's say if there are 3 or 4 players and they really need the spectrum, they would bid a very high amount. So TRAI would take that bid price and make that the base price for the next auction. So logically speaking, a base price should be a low price, and then depending on how much people need spectrum, they should bid. But TRAI, by putting the last bid price as the base price, TRAI essentially ensured that spectrum prices could only go up in India. Now this hurt the government of India as well, because in 2015 the spectrum prices were so high that not even 1 megahertz of spectrum got sold. The next year in 2016, about 60% of the spectrum remained unsold, and for the next 3 years there were no auctions at all here. So essentially, TRAI hurt not just the industry but the government as well. In another case, that on call drops, TRAI wanted to impose a penalty of 1 rupee per call drop per day on these companies, subject to a maximum of 3 rupees a day. So after talking about imposing this penalty and recommending a penalty, TRAI actually came up with a technical paper which explained why the telcos were not actually responsible for the call drops. And because there was a shortage of spectrum and other things like that, they had no option. Yet, TRAI went ahead with this recommendation to impose the penalty. When it came to the 3,050 crore penalty on some of these older telcos for not providing enough points of interconnection to RGO, that's another interesting story. Points of interconnection are essentially what allow networks and Airtel to connect to a Vodafone or to an RGO. So under the law, these companies are allowed 90 days to provide these points of interconnection, and as it happens, they provided the points of interconnection to Reliance within this 90-day period. So TRAI then came up with a consultation paper which said that, do we need to reduce this 90-day period? Is this too long here? And in the case of the reason for the penalty, TRAI said that the congestion on Reliance's network was very high, and this congestion was because the older telcos did not give Reliance enough points of interconnection. Now the law is very clear that the quality of service, the quality of service norms demand that this congestion be monitored over a 90-day period. Now TRAI didn't want to wait for 90 days, so it took data for 2 or 3 days, and it imposed the penalty based on that. Now, and this is a lot more worrying. Even though a lot of people, a lot of top bureaucrats in the country, in the telecom ministry, in Niti Aayog, these are members of what is called the Digital Communications Commission. So even though members of this commission were not quite convinced by TRAI's recommendation, nobody had the guts to actually scrap the recommendation or to say that we're going to turn it down here. In fact, even Telecom Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has not actually acted on that recommendation as yet, which essentially means that he doesn't think that the recommendation is a good one, but as in keeping with most things in India, that has not been rejected. So that 3,050 crore penalty is a ticking time bomb. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, somebody has the freedom to bring it up again and then impose a big penalty on telcos because they'll have to pay the interest burden on it as well. This is precisely what happened in the case of the AGR, where for more than a decade, the government never took a call on what constituted a revenue, and now after the Supreme Court verdict, you've got telcos who are on the verge of bankruptcy. Vodafone Idea might shut down because of this AGR issue. Google chief Sundar Pichai had a video conference with Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday, and they discussed many matters in terms of data privacy and things like that. And in an unrelated development, Google has said that it will invest $10 billion in India over the next 5 to 7 years. Now, as investments go, that's not a very large amount. It pales into insignificance. Look at the kind of money that Reliance Jio has been able to get over the last 2 months. It is very small when you look at it in terms of some of the manufacturing investment that comes in. But keep in mind that Google is not a manufacturing company. This is money being spent by Google to run back offices in India, to do R&D work, So it's essentially a very big employment generator. And it has to be a matter of great pride for us in India that several top US tech giants, Google is one of them, several top US tech giants have their largest workforces in India outside of America. So they are doing a lot of engineering R&D work here. So SAP and IBM, for example, get 8 to 10% of their global patents from their centers that are located out of India. Firms like Qualcomm, Texas Instruments and Intel have started doing work on chip design, and Google is said to be doing the same thing here as well. NASSCOM in fact has a target of $100 billion by 2025 as India's, as the kind of revenue that India will generate from these engineering R&D centers. We are some way away from that target, but we are progressing there, and Google's investment and Google's commitment to India are all going to help achieve that target. We have mixed news on the corona front. There are two possible vaccines, one from Pfizer and one from a German biotech company, who've got fast track approval from the American authorities. So they're expected to begin their trials with about 30,000 people by the end of the month. That's a very, very large number, and it's probably bigger than some of the other trials that we are seeing right now. So fingers crossed. Now for the problematic part, reports which basically suggest that the antibodies that people develop as a result of getting corona, these do not give you permanent immunity. So in fact, in his interview that was published in the Financial Express yesterday, All India Institute of Medical Sciences Chief Randeep Guleria had said that it was difficult to predict just how long the immunity is going to last. So if this is indeed true, it raises question marks over whether a vaccine will be able to give people a long enough immunity, but we have to see, fingers crossed. In fact, we also saw yesterday that in one of the plasma banks that the Delhi government has set up, about a third or maybe less, about 25% or so of the people who came to give their plasma didn't have enough antibodies to actually help people who had corona. So which meant that even people who had corona quickly, their antibodies disappeared quite quickly. In fact, our second editorial today is precisely on this point that Dr. Guleria had made, and we brought in other examples as well to talk about the fact that we still don't know how the virus is going to attack different parts of our body, whether it's the brain or whether it's the kidneys or whether it's the lungs or maybe even the heart. But what we say is that what we recommend in the edit is that essentially that countries across the world need to share all the data on all the examples they have, such examples that they have, so that doctors, scientists and other such people across the world can actually sit down and help develop some better medicines and better vaccines to combat the coronavirus. Right from the time in 1984 or 85, when its chairman Dhirubhai Ambani decided to hire the Cooperage football grounds in Bombay to hold an AGM, bigger and bigger AGMs have always been something for Reliance Industries. Now in these pandemic times, you cannot possibly have those physical AGMs anymore. So this time around, what Reliance is going to do is another first. From 500 locations across the world, about 1 lakh people can simultaneously log in to be able to watch its AGM tomorrow. So have a great day. Thank you.